Hi everybody, this is Dave Moog.
And I'm Chris Allen.
We'd like to welcome you back to part 4 of our Let's Play Resident Evil Jill Valentine playthrough. I think we have to start off with a bit of an apology for anyone that's been following the series. We had a bit of a mess up in part 4, or previous part 4, didn't we?
Yes, we did. We managed to cut off a bit at the end of the video, which I thought was a pretty pity.
So anyone following the entire playthrough, you'll notice that we've now renamed that part just the Yawn Snake Boss. So we do apologise in advance for that. But anyway, welcome now to the new part 4, and it's going to be you that's going to start us off, isn't it, Christopher?
Yes, I will be in control for this playthrough. Obviously, you can see the skill there dodging that zombie.
Yep, it's not often you've showed too much skill throughout the video, but it has been a wee bit of a gap since we've last played it, and you have kind of been brushing up, haven't you?
I was brushing up at the time, but I may have lost some of that skill.
I can see that there as you tried to put the wind crest in there, with it's the steel and the metal bit that goes in. But not to worry, I think it was the crest at one point in that area, wasn't it?
Yes, obviously it's just the same shape.
It was a good bit of time in there, you mentioning your skill and trying to put the wind crest in the wrong bit. I think we did like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're moving on to a new area here. Once Christopher picks up his items here, this is the kind of starting area for where we introduced to a new character, the scary Lisa, isn't it?
Yes, it is indeed.
Yeah.
A very interesting concept of the game, I thought.
She also happens to look like one of Christopher's ex-girlfriends.
Oh,
But,
that's not nice.
Well, we'll let you folk to say that for yourself. So this is a new puzzle here you won't have seen in the first one. It's wind chimes of sorts. You've got to figure out from the clues what direction to point the statues in. I don't know what you're quite doing here, Christopher. Maybe you'd like to explain it.
Well, as I was saying, I was playing it through by myself. Alas, it was a while ago, and I was trying to do it from memory. As you see, I never looked at the clues. It didn't work out that well, to be honest.
So were you just taking shots in the dark here, or did you actually have any kind of rhyme or reason as to where these wind chimes were to go?
Well, I thought I'd got it at the first point. I thought those were the two correct decisions, but as you'll see in a minute, it wasn't the case.
So do you remember what the positions were now? Was it west and south? Just for anyone that's maybe thinking this is a walkthrough.
Yeah.
So there you go. For anyone who's confused us with a walkthrough, you want to have your wind chimes going. I think is it west with the red and south with the blue. Oh, it doesn't really matter. If you're here for a walkthrough, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So I'd say this is all a brand new area, which is maybe why you'll notice that it's like absolutely stunning outdoor graphics. It's not a game that actually has too much action outside, is it, Resident Evil?
No, it doesn't. I think we're about to find out it's north for the blue.
North for the blue. Obviously Resident Evil 2, probably the majority of it is outside, but no, I think for the first one it's normally in the mansion, the residence, or the underground lab. Although what you will see at the start of this video is Christopher trying to place that wind crest, which anyone may remember from the first one. There was 4 of them. We've only got the one, and we're about to place it into a statue. Talk through what you're doing here, Christopher.
Well, you put in the wind crest, and then you get 3 other crests, and you'll see me take them out. There's a moon crest, star crest, is that? And the sun crest.
So what are you going to do with them now then?
Well, I always like this feature in the Resident Evil games when you need to inspect items to fully be able to use them.
Yeah.
And you look at the back of each of these, and there's a switch that brings out certain shapes on the back that will fit into the next tombstone. You probably get one of my favourite weapons in the Resident Evil game. Was the weapon you're about to get ever a favourite of yours, David?
Yes, it was obviously not just mine, but I think mine and the Barry's choice of weapon as well. Not quite get the same snazzy design as he has, but we're maybe just giving it away too early. I'd just like to talk about this kind of examining the objects feature, because I actually found it a bit of a pain in the first one, especially with the old Doom books. I think that got everybody out, didn't it? But in this game, the wind crests were never an object in the past you had to examine. So do you think that caused anyone a bit of problem this time when you got the three new crests? I think people would have known to examine them.
Well, I think if you are new to the game, possibly not, but I think since you get them right next door, and it is a similar shape, if you are familiar with the Resident Evil series, I think you could have worked it out, but I could see people being new to the game not appreciating what to do there.
But anyway, you were quite right there. We got probably one of the best guns you can get in the game. It's certainly if it's your first playthrough. We got the Magnum revolver, or what used to be the Colt Python, as maybe the original fans will remember it. It's quite a very powerful weapon. One of the few issues with it is you don't get a lot of bullets with it, do you? You do pick up a few as you go around, but not too many, so you've got to be careful how you use it. What about you, Christopher? Did you use it in any zombies in your playthrough?
No, it was actually funny because as you're saying, you used the crest differently in the previous games, and I actually left the wind crest in the chest for a majority of the game, and I didn't realise that was where you got the Magnum, and I didn't get it until you come back past this point at a later time in the game, which I was quite disappointed at.
Bit of a wasted opportunity to use the revolver, but we've got it for this playthrough. So you're now entering this kind of creepy, kind of out there hut, isn't it? Like kind of gardener's hut, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
Like a kind of cabin in the woods, kind of thing.
That's quite right. And this is obviously where the start of the kind of story arc that features Lisa begins. We're not quite sure if she lives here or not. But how are you feeling about this bit when you're coming up to it, for the first time? I actually thought it was a very big improvement to the game. I quite like this arc and this area as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed this a lot. I think it really added a lot to the tone of the game, and particularly when you read a lot of the files about it, it gives a bit more depth to the whole Umbrella kind of arc.
And if obviously you've seen us there picking up the crank, that was something you have to do to move on to the next area, so that's kind of something they've added into the area here. And that looks like a bit of a knatty shop here they've taken there. Not quite sure what's happening there. You seem to go from getting smacked from up the top to waking up in front of a nice romantic fire. Oh, and this is us getting our first introduction to Lisa. I quite like that's quite a good design there. Are you going to be able to survive this fight?
I think I'll do alright.
Oof, I think you spoke a bit soon there. Right to the back of the head. And what looks like some kind of blocks cemented round our fists. What do you think that is?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to just be restraints.
Restraints or shackles, but whatever it was, it seemed to give you a bit of a sore head.
Yeah.
But now that we've got the crank, we don't really need to fight Lisa. We can just start to backtrack now. She won't follow us out of this area, but I'm sure we will be encountering her again as we play along.
Talking of backtracking, for some reason I've decided to head back up.
Yeah, it's a bit of a loop-de-loop you're going in there. I think that's a wee bit down to the angles when you get to some of these new screens. It's not always obvious what way to turn. In particular, there was a couple of ways to get up there. Some fancy footwork there though, Christopher.
Yeah, nice kiting round the tree there, I thought.
Yeah, you think you're fast on your feet there. So we're just trying to head back to the main garden of the mansion now. We'll head through this gate that takes you to the area where we picked up a Magnum revolver as well. I've always liked a good revolver, but I prefer the ones that you can kind of spin round your finger. I think the one that we've got's a wee bit too heavy for that.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
So this is probably going to be our last glimpse of this area for a wee while at least, and we're going to head back to more familiar territory when we get to the kind of the beginning of the courtyard of the mansion, and we're going to head our way over to what will be the residence or the slaves' quarters as you could possibly call it. Not had too much action to deal with so far, Christopher, you know?
I find that there is a bit of a lull in this point in the game, I find.
There's the radio we got from just after the yawn battle.
Can you hear me? Shit, it's broken.
Not that there was much point in picking up that radio. It doesn't seem to be working very well. And of course, anyone who's played through the series will also remember you actually see Brad in the Resident Evil 2 and 3 games. He's only got a kind of customary role in 2, and he's quite difficult to find, but he does actually have a cast appearance in 3. And this is us using the crank that we got at the end of the section where we met Lisa. Bear this in mind, folks. You'll be back here later on for what was quite difficult for me to figure out in my very first ever playthrough of the original Resident Evil series. Well, I don't think there's too much difficulty with it this time.
Yeah, but I still maintain that as a nice bit, as in it's like a subtle hint about hearing the waterfall, that if you're paying attention you'll know to come back to it. Yeah, but if you just rush through and don't read the information, you could get stuck at a certain point later in the game.
I think they also make it a wee bit obvious with the fact I think the crank's one of the first items that you use it and doesn't immediately tell you to discard it, so that's also a bit of a clue as well. So we're going to have a couple of dogs down here. What tactic are you going to use in these?
No, I believe it's just crows at this point.
Crows, and maybe have some dogs here later on then if we're lucky. You're not too bothered about the crows? You think you can handle them?
just run right past, even though I got caught by one earlier on.
I don't know if we've actually seen you fire your gun yet, Christopher, have we?
No, you would be right. I don't think you have. Obviously, I need to conserve ammo for when you play through, else you can get a bit trigger happy sometimes.
Well, maybe I might be trigger happy, but I think it's a bit more entertaining for the fans rather than your gun shyness.
Well, I like to play the game through like you are living in a zombie apocalypse. You don't want to be wasting any ammo. You don't know what's round the corner, you know.
I don't know. I'm sure there's a few Walking Dead fans out there that will argue with you that there's a lot of gunfire and zombies' heads exploding in that TV show. But anyway, so we've come to the first save room in the residence. So we're just going to watch Christopher pick up some items here. This is maybe a wee bit of a boring part where we'll have to rejig the chest a wee bit just to try and make some extra space and try and figure out what we need next as we walk around the residence. You know, we've not got the biggest medical supply in the game, but we will remind fans that we are playing it in the easiest mode just to get through it for a wee bit of entertainment value. So the first aid supplies aren't as vital as they maybe would be in your kind of normal playthrough of the game. Though, Christopher, you still like to play it safe. You like to have that herb or two in your bag just in case.
Yeah, best be prepared, you know.
Were you in the Boy Scouts, Christopher?
No, I just like to pretend I was.
we won't go any further with that line of questioning. So the next ones were a bit of a favourite of mine, although it can be quite terrifying if anyone's got a fear of spiders, because that's what we're about to come up against. Ignore my friend Kevin there, who's joining our party. And you'll see here we're just covering up some holes in the ground as well, just so later on we can get through to the next area. So what about yourself, Christopher? Do you have a fear of spiders?
No, I'm quite alright with spiders. I always think it's an interesting fear to have. Particularly in Scotland and stuff, when there aren't a lot of deadly spiders around.
I don't know about that. There are certainly plenty of deadly spiders in Scotland, folks. Don't believe everything Christopher said. We kind of messed up a wee bit here, didn't we?
Yeah, we started to go to make the video, but later on we kind of decided against it.
Yeah, you've actually got to use the lighter, as you see Christopher doing here, to light these lamps, to take note of the colours and numbers to use in a kind of pin code later on, but just with the length of time it took us to do it, we never actually bothered writing down the actual numbers, so what we're actually doing now becomes a bit of a pointless exercise, but it means you'll get a wee bit more entertainment in the second video, where I'll be taking over to fight the infamous Plant 42. But we also get to see Christopher having some fun with the spiders in this room in the meantime, so it's not all bad. You see there the book there, Bandage with Blood. Christopher, you thought it was Bondage with Blood, didn't you?
Yeah, I did actually.
A bit of a pastime of Christopher's. You actually got a website for that. We can't link it in the bottom of this video because of YouTube rules and regulations, but if you look up Christopher Allen Bondage on Google, you'll find another site of his.
Yeah, you can believe that if you want, viewers.
So this is the puzzle we were talking about. So as you see here, we got our colours. We're now meant to take a note of the numbers and also the actual patterns that were beneath the lamps that we've seen. But we just never bothered. We thought we would just get the three numbers and figure it out for ourselves. It wasn't a proudest moment, but as I said, it'll work out better for you guys because you'll see a more entertaining boss battle later on instead of a kind of an easier route into doing it. It does mean we're going to miss Barry Buckley with the flamethrower. Get yourself a wee bit caught there with the spiders there. Maybe start to change your views on spiders, Christopher.
No, I always thought it was quite interesting here, as in I thought I'd be able to kite it away from the stairs, but obviously the game doesn't allow it to move up to the second floor or above the stairs, so I end up just needing to take a shotgun to it.
Yeah, you done quite well. There was a wee split second there I didn't think you were going to use your cautious herbs that you like to go about with, and I thought you were going to tackle that spider in danger. Not that I didn't have any faith in you, of course, but I was still glad to see you take it nonetheless. And it didn't take you long to get that cautious herb straight back in the backpack.
See, if I didn't know that one was there, I might not have used it.
You'll see here, this is the crate we moved just before we went into that room. You'll see we're climbing over the top there. If there is a wee hole in the ground, and there is a massive plant that seems to be growing all around the residence, and if you go anywhere near the holes, the plant kind of reaches up and grabs you by the neck. Not that we would make a mistake like that, would we?
No, well, I definitely wouldn't.
So we're carrying on, finding more locked doors. No, obviously these are like dormitories, isn't it? This is where obviously the lab technicians would have rested, but we've not actually found any areas yet where they actually would have done their work.
What about my family? If I play my cards right.
A bit of story there. Who do you think that was Wesker was talking to?
Well, I believe we're just about to find out. What's it?
Barry,
Oh,
I heard
look, it's
someone
Barry.
talking.
Oh,
talking to yourself? You alright? What's gotten into you?
I'm getting you worried, aren't I? But I'm alright. I guess this creepy mansion has gotten to my nerves. Anyway, maybe I'll go outside, get some fresh air for a change. Don't worry. Just going to get some fresh air. I'm lucky I'll get to waste some monsters along the way.
Well, so we know we've got Barry and we've got Wesker here. You see here, Christopher, you're reading the note on Plant 42 here, aren't you? It's going to be the next boss.
Yes, I would say Plant 42 is probably my favourite boss in the game.
Although you did confess earlier on that you've never actually fought it the normal way, is that correct? You always use the old V-jolt?
Yeah, I always use it on Jill, but obviously on the Chris playthrough you will have to fight it. But not as in the mechanics of the boss fight that I like. I like the idea of it, as in when you read the file and find out what it is. Although I do mess up a bit at this point in the game. Again, it was a while since I played it. I kind of get my order mixed up a bit and where to go a few times.
Yeah, because it seems as though you've discovered the secret entrance to the laboratory. Yeah, I always find it a bit odd. It's like, obviously that was somebody's sleeping quarters. Does that mean that people coming in and out of the lab just had to constantly bother this gentleman in his bedroom?
Yeah, well, I'd imagine so.
But yep, so Christopher's quite right. We actually don't need to be down here at this point, but there is a wee kind of, not a puzzle of sorts, but we do have to kind of create a wee mini bridge here using these blocks, so it doesn't have to do any harm to get this over and done with anyway. It just means we need to head back to get a key before we can go any further. But it's an easy mistake to make, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a kind of mistake that most people would only make once.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but it's simple enough to do. It's obviously it's only when you try and kind of make these mistakes continuously that it's something you have to worry about. But so you see, as I said, it's not so much a puzzle of sorts. It's just really a bit of kind of pushing the old boxes.
Although I would say it is more a puzzle than you get in some other games that pass off puzzles, because if you do it in the wrong order, you'll need to go back out and reset.
I always thought one of the reasons for this bit was actually just to kind of show off the graphics when this game was first released in the original kind of PS1. This idea that you can move kind of heavy objects to create new environments. But obviously it's obviously worthwhile keeping into the new additions. So anyway, Christopher, it looks as though you figured out that you've came the wrong way. Not done us any harm. You've created your bridge. We'll be able to come back here and use that at a later stage. Where is it we're going now?
We're going to go and get a key.
A key. Yep, because we've not opened up all the doors in the residence yet, and we're obviously going to need a key to get downstairs and get further into the laboratory. And oh, so you've missed that zombie there, but you've given him a shockingly good time.
Yeah, although it is one of those zombies that appear randomly. They just pop out the door. We talked about them in a previous video. I also always like that feature.
But yep, yeah, it can happen to anyone. But at least you'll be aware that he's back out here for this time. So let's prepare to see a zombie getting his head shot off. Talk us through this.
Yeah, well, go. Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, not my finest moment, to be honest.
No, it's certainly not. You should do. You've got one of these panic alarms. Do you carry one of these panic alarms around with you?
No, I'll stick to the tasers and battery packs.
Now, this is odd again, though, Christopher, because obviously we've just picked up a residence key, but you've taken us back down to the laboratory. What was your thinking here? Do you know a shortcut that maybe I'm not aware of?
No, I was just thinking the underground secret lab underneath the residency. Or that must be part of the residency, but... Oh no, it's the room 1 key.
So not once did we come downstairs by an error. We actually came twice. But again, not to worry. It could happen to anyone. Please tell us it's not going to happen for a third time, Crystal.
Well, we'll see.
Don't worry, I don't think it's going to happen for a third time. So we're heading back up into the residence. We're going to see what we can do with this key. See where we can place it. I think your zombies finally stayed dead this time, is that right?
Possibly not, actually.
Is this just you action posing? Oh, he's coming back, but at least you got it right this time.
Yep, I think the frustration of making the same mistake a few times finally got to me, so I thought I needed to use a shotgun on a zombie.
And I think that's 26 minutes into this video. Is that the first time you fired?
It is indeed.
But it was a lovely shot. You took care of him in the third attempt. A couple of tasers, got a wee bit fried, but really you were just warming him up for the final climax there. So it looks as though we're coming near to the end of this video now. We're just going to go into this final room here. This is the first residence room, isn't it?
It is indeed.
There's no need to keep these keys in here, and we'll hopefully find some sort of entrance key to the downstairs laboratory. But it's slowly coming up for my turn to take over, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I believe I just have a wee quick look around the room.
Self-defense, got anything you could do with that after your recent zombie attack?
I believe I've never actually used a self-defense gun in any of my playthroughs all the time.
You just like to rely on the old trusty taser?
Yes. And again, I don't know if I'm leaving this room.
It's not been your best playthrough, has it, Christopher?
No, well, we'll see how you get on in your playthrough.
And by all means, guys, feel free to look out for the next part, which should be coming shortly. That'll obviously be a part 5. But before we wrap this chapter up, we've got a wee bit of kind of nasty looking bath water to plug our way through here, Christopher. It's not often you walk into a room and see the bath water that colour. It's usually when you're just coming out the bath, isn't it?
Yeah, it is indeed.
But no, there we go. It looks as though we've finally got a laboratory key and we can make our way out of there. It's like you wasted another opportunity there to apply the zombie full of lead. Conserving the ammo for myself, thank you very much. And obviously just before we pass over, I think we're just going to go into the final room and save it off here. So this is Dave Moog.
And this was Chris Allen.
We hope you enjoyed part 4 of our Let's Play Resident Evil video. Please tune in shortly to see part 5 and hopefully another boss fight. So if you would like to leave any comments or any kind of suggestions at the bottom of the page, we'd be more than welcome to hear them. Try not to be too nasty. Comments about Christopher's performance are okay.
Yeah, I look forward to reading them all.
Anyway guys, it was fun. See you all next time.
See you next time.